My best advice will be to never listen to anybody, especially if you are at a young age. And this may sound strange because when you're young, you have always held to listen to your elders, to listen to the people that has more experience than you do, because you are young and you don't know anything about life, you don't know anything about yourself, and you don't know anything about nothing. But it's not like that. Most of the people think that being old, or not being old, but to have been to being alive for a longer period of time gives you more experience, more knowledge, and to be more of a wise person. And you wanna have more experiences and more knowledge in certain things, but not in every aspect of life. And most of the people are just grown kids. They are incapable of giving you advice in some areas of your life. Also, if you are someone who has big goals, who has things that you want to accomplish, and they are not the typical things that people want to accomplish, or they are typical goals people have. Because when you listen to any of these persons, they are always going to limit you. They are always going to look at you as if you were a kid, as if you were a child who doesn't know what he does. And if you were never enough to accomplish that type of things, because they already lived a life and they never accomplished the things that you are trying to accomplish, and the things that you have in your mind, your goals. They never did that type of things, so they don't think that you are capable of doing it. And only the people that achieve that goals that you have right now are the ones that are going to understand you, not your father, not your mother, not your brother, not your uncle, not your friends, not the people at your job, not the people at your gym, not the people at your wherever you go. They are not going to understand you. They had different goals for themselves. They may have accomplished them, they may not, and they are going to see their limits and their own perception of what are they capable of accomplishing in you, even less, because most people have an ego so much bigger than they would like to admit. And what that makes is that they are not capable of seeing someone and watching how that person is accomplishing more than they used to do, and realizing that they were not as good doing that thing, or they were not as capable or as willing to put the effort and to sacrifice as many things as that person is sacrificing or is doing, because their ego doesn't let them. And they are going to limit you in that way, because they are never going to let their ego to recognize that you are doing better, that you are capable of accomplishing more than they do, more than they did. And most people think that the fact of desiring something automatically means that you are trying to get that thing, but it's not always like that. In fact, I will say 95% of the time it's not like that, because most of the people don't even try. They tell you, yeah, at your age I used to live by dreams, as you do. I used to want that type of things. I was dreaming, I was thinking of that another thing, having super big goals, which they probably didn't. But even if they did, what they did to achieve them? What they did? They didn't start anything, they didn't try anything, they didn't sacrifice anything, they didn't do anything in order to achieve that goals. They didn't do anything to get something different than they used to have, because they were scared and they were limited in a mental frame, because they didn't even think that they were capable of accomplishing that, and they think so of you, that you're not capable of accomplishing that, because they never were capable, and they think they tried. But it's like, if you go to a gym and you want to be a bodybuilder, but you don't even go to a gym, you just want to be a bodybuilder, but you didn't even pay the membership. And you don't only need to pay the membership, you need to pay the membership to learn about training, to learn about nutrition, to rest properly, to eat properly, to to train, to sacrifice your time, to sacrifice some meals, to sacrifice some events. You have to sacrifice a lot of things to be willing to put so much effort, to be willing to be uncomfortable, and just to do the things that most people are not willing to do, are not willing to sacrifice, and to put so much effort and time on that thing, on that goal you have. And it's like saying that somebody is not able to be a bodybuilder because you wanted to be a bodybuilder and you didn't even went to a gym ever in your life, not a single time. It's like when people laugh because you are starting a business and they didn't even start one business. They never tried something. They never tried anything besides having a job. It was the only thing that they ever tried. They never did a single one thing in order to get closer to their goals, in order to improve in skills that are required to achieve that goal, to improve their life. They were never willing to do that, and they will never understand what is being willing to sacrifice that type of things, to put so much effort. Because if they had the levels of hunger that you have to do in order to do so, they would have done, but they didn't. So they can't understand what it's like to have that hunger, to have that drive of doing that and doing it now and starting to do as much as you can. So their minds really can't comprehend that. So please never listen to anybody, because they are going to talk from their limitation, from their beliefs, from their context. And this is not in a narcissistic way, saying that you know more than anyone and you shouldn't take advice from people that are above you, that are in the position you want to be. Obviously you will want to hear that type of people, but most of the people are not this type of people. They are the 1%, and most of the people are not the 1%, are not in your desired position. They didn't achieve your goal. So why would you listen to all that people when the only thing they are going to do is to limit you to their beliefs, to their context, and to what they think is possible and to what they think is not? It's the only thing they want to do. So for that, you shouldn't listen to anybody who is around you, because also when you are not when you want to be, you're gonna be surrounded by people that also aren't in that position. So the people that surround you are going to give you advice for people who will never be in that position and who will never achieve that goal. And that doesn't mean that they are bad people or that they don't want the best for you, obviously. For example, your parents, they obviously want the best for you, but they don't think that it's possible to achieve such things, to achieve certain goals that you have in your mind. And they have grown their entire life thinking in a different way that you do, in a context different to yours, and just with different beliefs. So don't judge them because of that. If you were born in their position, you will probably think as they do. It's just like that, it's the truth. And when I look back, the best decisions I took on my life were all of them were the ones where the most amount of people told me to not do them, to not take that risk. And they were only bringing up the bad things, the risk of doing that, and they were not putting themselves on my shoes. They were just thinking from their mind, from their context, and giving me advice that if I had followed that advice, I would be so miserable. I would be literally depressed nowadays. I'm not joking. I would have such a miserable life. I wouldn't even like to imagine the life I will have today. And they were the decisions most people told me to not do. And they bring the most amount of cons, of bad things, of risk. And what I did is to not hear to any one of them, to not give a fuck about what anyone had to tell me. I literally didn't give a fuck about what anyone told me. And this is what has led me to the most happiness in my life. Not hearing to anyone around me, not hearing to what anyone has to say about my decisions, about my context, about what I think, about what I want to do, about my goals, about anything that I do with my life. Not hearing to absolutely anyone has bring the most happiness to my life. And I think one of the reasons that so many people live in such a miserable way, that they are depressed, they are anxious, they are just so miserable, they hate their lives, is because we are constantly listening to what every other one has to say about our lives. We listen to them, we obey what other people want from ourselves. And this is what brings the most mediocrity, because we are living for the opinion of other people, for their judgment of what will they think, what will they think of what I do, of what I think, of what I have to say. And you live reduced to the opinion of people that will never be in the position you want to be, will never achieve your goals, and you will never want to be like them. And it's such a sad thing, because I really know so much people like that. I know so much people that condition their lives for what others may think. They are not the owners of their own life. They are just like a character in their life who just obeys a script that other people write for them, because they don't have the courage to write their own script and to live by their beliefs and their values. And if you are still in the video, but you think that I'm actually talking shit, you can go see the things that most people repent on the dying bed. And this, not being themselves, fearing what other people may think about them, about their decisions, about their thoughts, is one of the things that most people repent from. They feel the judge of other people, of people who doesn't care about them, or even if they do, it's not their life, it's not their goals, it's not something that they should have an opinion on. And most people won't care about. They will only care if they are your parents and a few more people. Few more people. I will say in most cases, 99% of people, just their parents are the only ones that are going to care about you. And even if they care about you and they are giving advice from love, from being worried for you, that doesn't mean they are thinking in a critical way. That doesn't mean they have the information you have, and that they are acting as they should, because no one is perfect. And I'm not saying that to judge your parents, to judge my parents is not the purpose of this video, but for you to understand that even if somebody is trying to do something good for you, or to just give you the best advice possible, the best advice they know or they can give, it doesn't mean that it's the best advice for you. It doesn't mean that actually is something that is going to help you or that is going to benefit you in any way. Right now, for example, I have something in my head. I have something I'm nearly 100% sure I'm gonna do. And if I told what it is, they will call me crazy. They will say I'm crazy, I don't know what I'm going to do. It's just, it doesn't make any sense. And that I should center my thoughts in something different, but they are not in my shoes. They don't know what I know. They don't have the same beliefs, the same mental process that I have, the same context, and they will never. We are all different human beings with such complex mental process. And man, if I told anybody what I want to do and I tried to follow their advice, I'm sure that I will never achieve the things that I have in my mind. And even if you don't follow their advice, but most people are going to put so much fear, so much limiting beliefs in your mind, that unless you are somebody with such a strong mindset, you probably, even if you think that you won't get affected by that, you're probably going to be limited and to think in, at least in a slightly different way from what you used to think, because you're gonna be hearing that type of things constantly, and you may start thinking, is that true? I might be wrong, maybe this is not like I thought it was, and maybe I should do something different. Maybe I shouldn't take that risk. Maybe I shouldn't go to that place, start doing that thing. Maybe. So it starts digging in your head, and maybe in a few days, in a few weeks, or even months, that hole in your brain is so big that all that fears now enter in that hole. They now have a space in your head, and you don't have the courage anymore to do that things. You are not willing to obey them or to listen to their beliefs. You are not going to follow their will. but you ended doing because you started having fear. You started feeling like they used you to feel, and that's why they never took action, because they were so afraid. And now you are, and you were not willing to listen to them. You were not going to obey to anything that they had to say, but you ended fearing the same things they used to fear, because they were listening the same things that they are now telling to other people, and that you have listened now. And that's why you have fear of taking the next step, of doing the next challenge in your life, because you heard the people that were never willing to do such thing. And I will say it again, the best decisions I took in my life are the ones that everyone told me to not do, are the ones that seemed like the most crazy to most people. But I deeply knew that decisions are going to build me, that they are part of my essence, that I need to do that thing. I need to do this that I have in my mind right now is a part of me, and I'm going to build my life on that. It's not like my life is going to depend from that, but it's a piece of the puzzle of my life. And I'm visualizing my dream life, and this is a part of the puzzle that my dream life has. And each one of these decisions that I took are pieces of the puzzle that no one is going to understand, because they have their own puzzles, and you have your own puzzle, which you have to build with your own pieces. I would literally prefer to die rather than not following the life I want to live, the life I want to have, the purpose I have in my life, the things that are going to build my life, that pieces of the puzzle that are going to build my reality, my future, and my present. I would literally prefer to die rather than not following this type of life, these decisions, these beliefs, these values, and this mindset that I have right now. Because I will live in such a miserable way that life wouldn't even have a purpose, wouldn't even make sense for me. So, as a resume of this video, listening to people who doesn't have your context, who doesn't have your puzzle, your mental puzzle, who are not willing to pursue their goals, or they will never be willing to pursue your goals. They were never willing to sacrifice anything, to change anything, to do any effort, but they still think they are the same person as you are, following the advice of someone who doesn't like his life, who doesn't like the way they live, who just sees in you like a challenge of their beliefs, of what they were capable of doing, of their ego, because they weren't capable of achieving the things that you have in your mind. Following that type of people advice is never going to lead you to a place better than you are right now.